but I've got so much that I want to get to that it's not even funny. And we will get to some of the things that Trump has managed to accomplish and some things that still need to be done. But we do have to understand that this is a fight for freedom in the United States of America. I do believe that this presidency is absolutely historic, and so that I am hopeful and I am prayerful that Trump is going to be able to accomplish everything that he wants and more. I'm hoping that Republicans get on page, and frankly, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, "Oh, you got some conservative Republicans that need to fall in line." I have a bit of a different take on that. I think the rhinos need to fall in line because, quite frankly, it would go further. It would further Trump's agenda. It would further America's agenda. And so that is what I would like to see. But we don't talk about the Democrats much. The Democrats are in the middle of a civil war. And then I see this headline, which I love. Anna Paulina Luna introduces bill to codify DOJ actions into federal law. I want to get to that. That's the first time I'm seeing that. Thank you, Zach. All right, so I want to get into that momentarily because I absolutely loved coming in. I bring my stack of brilliance, and then it's nice to come in on the Elder Show, and his team also provides an additional stack of brilliance, and I absolutely love it. So thank you, Zach, for that. I really do appreciate that. But again, so much to get to in today's show. I guess here's where I want to start. There's a civil war that's brewing within the Democrat Party, and I believe what the Democrat Party wants you to do is they're getting stuff done. They're getting stuff done. I mean, obviously they're caught up with this illegal alien Garcia. There's another one apparently today that I'll talk about. We'll talk about the judges that went a little too far left, showed their true colors. All that kind of good stuff. We'll get to that. But understand the Democrats, even though they seem misguided, all they're going to do is constantly double down on stupid. They're going to move from one situation to another. You and I are going to throw bullets at them. We're going to throw shade at them, metaphorically speaking. Obviously, we're going to talk about Kilmar, Garcia, and all the how could they do this? I want you to understand that the left, even though they sink, they have a tactic. Their tactic is to try to undermine President Trump, try to bring down his approval ratings, and try to scare people away from him. So you have to understand that. And speaking of that, let me start here. I didn't think I was going to start here, but sometimes things just fall into play. There was an article that was posted a couple of days ago, and there's another. I believe it's in my other stack of brilliance. I'll get to it momentarily, but let me go through this one. This was from Byron York of the Washington Examiner, and now it's just somehow disappeared through my firmly fingerprinted fingertips. So here it is. So here's what I want you guys to understand. All right, there's always a tactic from the left. There's always a strategy. Even when you and I, we sit and we watch the left and we're like, how could they double down on stupid? Listen, they have... They don't have anywhere else to go. They don't have any good ideas. They don't have any good candidates, quite frankly. And so all they're going to do is try to diminish President Trump. That's why we're seeing a complete imitation. We're seeing Trump 2.0 in the White House, but we're also seeing the media coverage 2.0. As a matter of fact, negative coverage of President Trump during these first 100 days are even worse than they were his first go-round, if you could believe it, according to media research. Now, there was a poll that came out earlier in the week, and this is very important because I want to lay the table right here. So there was a poll that came out earlier in the week that said Donald Trump is down, lowest numbers in 80 years. You guys all heard it. Everybody on air talked about it. Lowest numbers in 80 years, except it was a lie. You guys know that, right? Except it was a lie. What did the great Rush Limbaugh teach us? That sometimes polls are polls, but sometimes polls are created to create a narrative. And that's exactly what's happening here. And they're going to double down on this. We've got some economic news. It's not the best economic news. I'll talk about that. You got some people out there saying that tariffs cause inflation. No, tariffs don't cause inflation. However, they can feel inflationary. So we will talk about that as well. But I do believe that we're going to get to a point where the economy surges. We're not there yet. And I know that sucks for people because, listen, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and pretend like everything is going to be hunky-dory. Things are going to feel tough, and then things, I believe, are going to get better. And that's going to come as soon as Republicans get their butts in gear and pass some permanent tax cuts and codify the DOGE cuts into law. Oh, and by the way, did you guys know that the reason why the DOGE cuts are $150 billion as opposed to the $2 trillion is because you got so many rhinos that just didn't want to sign on to different types of spending cuts. So those of us that were looking at all the work and have been looking at all the work that DOGE has been accomplishing in their audit, monkeys, paying for monkeys and all this kind of weird stuff overseas through the USAID, State Department, so on, et cetera. And we're like, man, I thought there was going to be more savings. Where there would have been if we didn't have so many rhinos. I'll get to that later. All right, so let me circle back to this. 39%. That's the headline. So how did they reach that headline? Well, Byron York of the Washington Examiner breaks it down. He explains it. To reach this headline, this result, the Washington Post pollsters surveyed 848 people who said they voted for then Vice President Kamala Harris in 2024. Pause. You're telling me that number, that 39% number, came from the Washington Post? Is that the same Washington Post that's owned by Jeff Bezos? Is that the same Jeff Bezos that owns Amazon, where they were going to put a tariff label on products? Now, guys, let me say this. I want to be emphatically clear. Amazon can do whatever the heck they want to do. And in fact, it may be beneficial for consumers. If they want to slap a tariff label on it, they can slap a tariff label on it. It's a private business. They can do what they want. Trump, Caroline Leavitt called them out at that White House presser. And I think it was a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Because I believe it was political. I do believe it was political. Now, again, don't conflate the two, okay? Because I even posted this on X. And I had to come back and I was like, you know what? I've got to correct myself. I've got to clarify here. A private business can do what a private business wants to do, but don't sit here and pretend like what we witnessed the other day with Amazon wasn't political. Let's go back to the poll. To reach this result, the Washington Post pollsters surveyed 848 people who said they voted for then VP Kamala Harris in 2024, then 842 people who said they voted for Trump, and then 729 people who said they did not vote at all. Oh, those are the people that they used in the poll? The people that did not vote at all? Those are the people? Are those perhaps the people where they get this 39% from?
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.